Hey everybody on the internet, welcome to the morning show. Spencer Israel, JC Parets. Steve Strazza is still recovering from the shenanigans in Miami. Maybe he'll join us today. Maybe he'll be back on Monday. Actually, something must be going around because Strazza's under the weather. Kenny's under the weather. We're all going to be under the weather this weekend with the snow, so it's going to be something's going on. I don't know. It's winter. That's what happens. Regardless, the show must go on. We will have Louis Sykes stopping because it's Crypto Friday, so Louis has to join us. I don't make the rules. Larry Thompson will also hop in for a few, and I got you, I got me, I got JC. We got the charts. What more could you ask for? It's Friday. Let's get this show on the road. If you're watching us on YouTube, thumbs up, please. Appreciate that. Let's go.
Oh, nice to be back in the saddle, Spencer.
Now that I think about it, we have a track record of people, of all of us getting sick after these events. It happened in Sonoma. It happened at least one other time.
See, I was sick before the event, so I feel great.
Okay. Well, I'm not feeling 100% today, but it's okay.
We were well behaved, but we hit it hard during the day. Like, we got a lot of content in, and we talked about a lot of different things. A lot of times my head is spinning after this, but I feel like this time the conversations were much more focused and centralized. Everything revolved around a couple of themes, so I thought that was pretty cool.
Actually, I asked Alfonso for the to-do list. I wanted to, because likewise. A lot was said. A lot was written down. I didn't write anything down. So Alfonso wrote everything down.
That's the whole point. That's the idea. I mean, I had my notes, but that was just for conversation purposes, not for
right. So Alfonso, if you could share the to-do list, please, I'd appreciate that because I have things that I wanted to do from that.
What was your favorite part of Miami?
My favorite part of Miami. Well, I think I told everyone I thought that was the nicest hotel we'd stayed at yet.
It was unique because it's old school, it's outside, it's unique.
I thought that was the nicest hotel. We ate extremely well. I thought we ate probably the best food that we've had at an event. Likewise, hotel and not hotel. I thought
all those chicken fingers.
My favorite part was actually not dying on the boat. I had a classic experience. So basically, about once a year, God looks out for me and guides me away from eating peanuts, unbeknownst to me in the moment. It happens once a year where I could have eaten peanuts and died, but I didn't. And it happened on the boat. And I only found out after the fact. Wow. So that was my favorite part, was not dying on the boat.
Shout out to God.
Shout out to God. Yeah.
To God. Big shout out on the morning show to God.
Yep.
I just like having a lot of people together. It's really what it is. You learn so much just from talking to other people in both directions. In some cases, you're learning from someone something that you hadn't noticed or something that you hadn't seen before, and you learn something. Guys like Frank Cap and some of the other guys certainly brought that to the table. Then you also get other people that are interested in things that that I'm talking about or that some of us are talking about. And maybe we looked over, we didn't realize just how important that is. And somebody else's perspective kind of shining some lights on something that we might be talking about, but kind of looking over compared to other things. I find a lot of value in that as well.
Yep. We'll talk more about these events as we promote Nashville in May and what is to come there. Should we do a little state of the markets?
I don't want any more people. If you guys really want to come, fill it out. We'll see. But we can't allow that many more people. We're there. This is too much. I like a small, intimate conversation, right? Not this big mega conference. We don't need to do that. This is a very selfish endeavor, right? So guys, if you're interested in coming to Nashville, by all means, please apply, come. But that's it. We got to cap it. So if you're listening on the morning show, then you're one of my favorites. So you get first dibs.
But
that's the truth. I treat morning show people better than others.
Don't tell your friends, apparently. Don't tell your friends. All right.
If you have to tell a friend because you really think he's going to enjoy it or she's going to enjoy it, fine. But like, we only want like real people, obviously, and not that many.
Real people. Real people are watching the S&P futures this morning and all that good stuff. So let's do that. Boring as hell.
You know what would be really cool if we had a like a band at the morning show. You know what I'm saying?
Like a house band?
Just like a live band, like the Roots or something. So like when instead of playing like a bumper, it'd be like, all right, hit it, Roots, and they just like bum, 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 you know what I'm saying? And then we go in there. I don't know, that'd be sick. Imagine guys a live band for the morning show. Sick.
That'd be cool.
All right, so we got the Dow futures down 200. So that's 39,340. Spencer Israel, that represents, if my math is correct, there are 660 points until 50,000 for the Dow. Still ways away. What are we going to do for Dow 50,000? We having a party. We said we were having a party.
You're right. We talked about this like 2 weeks ago now. I don't know.
Well, no, years ago we said at Dow 50,000 we're hosting a party.
Well,
remember?
Yeah,
Dow
but then but then I brought this up like 2 weeks ago, and I thought it would have happened by now, but I guess not.
Excuse me, like things happen. Market's been ripping for 3 years, and Spencer over here is disappointed. Jeez Louise.
Well,
all right.
Yeah, anyway,
Dow futures down 200. Then you got the S&Ps down 20 basis points, 69.30 there for S&Ps, 13 handles. NASDAQ 100, 0.25% to the downside, just below 25,600. 30-year bond futures up 0.33%, 115.5. You got crude oil up almost 2%, back above 60, 50. Big, that's the big move today, or one of the big moves, I should say, because copper also up almost 2%. Man, if copper gets back above 6, that's real, because you got gold still up another 0.33%, 49.30. That is, my calculations are correct. That would be 69 points, Spencer. 69 points from gold 5,000. 69. Gold up almost 0.5%, right? So silver up almost 3%. 99.17 for silver. Did we kiss 100? And I didn't notice?
Did we?
We have not kissed 100.
No,
we did not, right?
No.
I don't want to speak out of turn.
Not on my chart. We didn't.
We have not hit 100, man. We got close though. 99.81 for silver was the high according to my data. Wow. Silver at 100, guys. That is, we are legitimately, witnessing one of those moments in our careers and our investing lives that like you'll always look back on. Remember that move in silver, from 16 to 100? Remember, like we're going to be talking about that. Like, remember when crude oil traded below zero? Remember when Bear Stearns disappeared? Remember, like these cycles, they're like certain moments throughout history that are always going to stick with me. And this silver going to 100. Like, what am I going to remember? I'm going to remember having this conversation, talking about it with you guys, and just appreciate the moment. This is a moment that you'll be thinking about for, the rest of your investing career.
Are we interested in oil up 2% this morning? I am a little bit.
I mean, I'm long. I'm trying to get longer. It was a big theme in Portfolio Accelerator. So many interesting ideas. I was putting on energy trades live there in Miami, multiple. Yeah. So I'm in, right? I'm in. All right, I know we got Louis in the house, so I do want to just kind of bring up what crypto's doing, and then we'll dive in when the Lou dog is in town. Also, he's going to that Real Vision conference, so curious to hear his take there. 89,000, kind of flat this morning for Bitcoin. Ethereum, 29.30, down almost 1%. Solana, 127, down 1%. Total crypto market cap, 2.98 for crypto. So we'll dive in there.
All right.
We're burying the lead totally. Can you throw up that slide too? How do we not?
Is the lead Intel? No, it's not.
How do we not? Like, I had to see if this was fake. I thought this was the AI.
I saw you tweet this last night. Yeah.
You know how the kids can do the AI now, where they just like make things, like just random things.
So this is real to be.
This is 100% real, guys. This is 100% real.
What's kind of funny is that like that could be fake and it would be very believable.
Well, I got to tell you that I thought it actually was. I'm like, there's no way this is real.
Right.
Like, first of all, there's a couple of things that stand out to me. I mean, you have a president with his shirt off, so obviously. Then, clearly. Then you have a bear on the cover. You actually literally have a bear on the cover of the Economist magazine, a real bear. And then also what stands out is no title, no print, nothing, completely blank. Not a single word on the entire cover other than at the top. You notice that?
What about the fact that the cover is red? The whole cover is red.
I think that's the play on the Russia that's playing into that, I think. Because look, if you go refresh and go to slides 3 through 11, so this is every time in the of this century that there has been a bear on the cover of the Economist magazine. This is every single time. So go down and you'll see that it's either a panda because it has to do with China, or it is a grizzly referencing
I don't know, man. I think the red is just symbolism for bearishness, right? So
I don't know. So this is the only one. This is the only bear on the cover of the Economist magazine this century that is not a panda referencing China or a grizzly referencing Russia. This is the only one where it's just the bear alone.
right.
Another, year plus of a bull market after that, and then back to Russia and the bear. Right? So it's either a panda in China, a grizzly and Russia, and then only one other time. And then so now we got a polar bear. So it seems to have like a Russian tilt there, but there's still a bear on the cover of the Economist magazine. I mean, that's a big one. A bear's a bear.
Now I want to know what the damn article, what the headline of the article is, because I thought we were talking about the market, but we're talking about Russia. So I don't know what we're talking about.
Number one, it's just, it's just a great creative job there by the Economist. I mean, some of these magazine covers over the years are very creative. Very creative. Like, remember like the the guy with the skis, and then you had all the snow on his ass, which was the map of the world.
It's almost as if people that work in magazines on the covers are creative folks and they know what they're doing. They're good at their jobs.
Very creative. Right? I mean, just give it up for them. I mean, you got Trump walking around on the polar bear. I mean, come on, that's good. That's good stuff right there. I like it. Keep up the good work, y'all. And then what about technology? This is really a big story because technology on a large cap level.
Everyone's talking about software. JC, everyone's talking about software. I cannot do a semicircle without somebody somewhere talking about software.
Yeah.
Software.
How much did we talk about? I mean, we're doing software scans, right? We want to buy this dip in software. That's what we're looking to do. Like, I'm not shorting software here.
Yeah.
Let's see. So what do you have the there it is. Yeah. So we got the equally weighted technology index making new all-time highs yesterday. So the QQQs haven't made a new all-time high since October. The large cap market cap weighted technology index, which is the XLK, would be the ETF for that, has not made a new high since October. But on an equally weighted basis, broadly speaking, making new all-time highs. Also, small cap technology also making new all-time highs. So there are zero, Spencer, this is real, and this is important for everybody to understand. You know how many mega cap tech stocks are in the small cap technology index? Zero.
I could guess. Oh, okay.
Right? Zero. By definition. They're not allowed in. These are the small caps. And then on an equally weighted basis, what happens? Those mega cap stocks that they told you were the only ones going up, they are completely eliminated from the equation, like if they're not even there. It's an equally weighted index, right? So every company there represents the same amount. So if you pull those out, it's not going to change the data, right? Also hitting new all-time highs. And all of this really started accelerating at the end of October when Ron DeSantis is out there tweeting to everybody about how it's a Mag 7 economy and it's the only companies that are working and blah, blah, blah. That day was the last time that large cap technology made a new high. It was the last time that those stocks that he was complaining about made a new high. Since then, all of them are working except for those. right? And it's not like, oh, it's around a week ago or JC's cherry picking and being an asshole. No. It was the exact day of the peak, and we were talking about it right here in the morning show in real time. That's why we want to pay attention. We want to pay attention. The signs are there. We just have to look, right? So, think of there's two things, right? There's two sides to this solution. It's like, okay, great, JC. So what do we do about it? Right. More importantly, what do we do about it? If you think that there's another leg to this bull market, we're going to rally into another couple quarters at least, right? I think it's going to be hard to do that without those technology stocks. So if you go to technology on an absolute basis in the next chart there, Spencer, you could see this on a market cap weighted basis. And I also threw a 14-day RSI to really show kind of like a bullish construction to this. This is an uptrend. If you read the books about technical analysis, I got them. All of them. I've read them all. This is a very normal, healthy consolidation within an ongoing uptrend with a high degree of probability that it will resolve in the direction of the primary trend, which, of course, has been up. Momentum confirms that. We have not seen any oversold conditions in momentum. Quite the opposite. A lot of strength there. And then new all-time highs in the QQQJ, which are the next 100 in the 101 through 200 in the NASDAQ. You got new all-time highs in small cap tech. You got new all-time highs in equally weighted tech. So there's not a lot of evidence suggesting that this should break down, right? There's a lot of evidence suggesting it should break out. So when I think about what if it breaks down, now that would be incredibly unusual, and that would be a major signal that there could potentially be bigger problems in this market. That's a big one. But also think about if the higher probability outcome occurs, right? So I think worst case scenario always. If we lose these, because going sideways clearly is not bad for the market. Going up is not bad for the market. Going down would probably be a problem for the market, right? So that's how I think about this. Sideways is fine. Higher at a slower rate, that's fine too, right? But think about the implications to this market if this does resolve higher and this does break out higher and you got 15, 20 trillion dollars, 15, whatever the market cap is, something absurd of these market cap tech, of these mega cap tech stocks combined together. Think about how much fuel that is for the overall market. So I think about it in both directions. How do you think about that, Spencer, as as an investor, as a thinker, someone who now has to provide for a family?
No, I want to go back to the equal weight chart for a second. This is an interesting quirk of the RSPT. So these funds rebalance quarterly, right? That's how they maintain their equal weighting, right? So they rebalance 4 times a year. They just did one end of December, a few weeks ago. So they're not due for another 2 months, basically, to rebalance. The top 2 holdings in RSPT right now are really shouldn't be a surprise if you've been paying attention. It's SanDisk and Micron. They've been on absolute rippers, and frankly, they're starting to run away from the pack, right? SanDisk is now 50% more greater weighting than the number 3 holding.
1.5%. Take it out completely. It's not going to change. Gartner's 1.6%.
It's 3%. Is what I'm saying.
Micron is 1.6%. Motorola is 1.5%.
I'm on
take them out of the equation. These indexes, they're still making new all-time highs.
I'm not saying they wouldn't. I'm saying SanDisk is 3% of the fund, which is 50% more than the number 3 weighting. Okay. Now they're not due to rebalance for 2 more months. Okay, Micron's number 2 at 2.14%. So they're running away. Pretty much everyone else is 1%, right? No one stock is really going to matter that much. But SanDisk and Micron together are now 5% of this fund. And if they keep going like they've been going, and they've been the best stocks, in the market last few months, if they keep doing this before that rebalance in the end of March.
Super micro is like a huge weighting in the small cap index because it kept going up and they kept it in there too long. Remember?
Yeah. These things happen. I mean, GameStop was the number 1 holding by a mile in XRT when that whole thing went down. These funds are slaves to their rebalancing schedule. Okay.
Hold on. So listen. So in the chat, sorry, change the subject, but so the bears for Greenland. That's what the polar bear is representative of Greenland.
And then Mark mentioned that it was a callback to Putin, which makes sense to me.
That I get. That's where I thought the red came from. Spencer thinks the red is bearish.
Yeah, maybe we're all right. I don't know. But regardless, so
I'm
you
going
have
to do a study and go back and look at all the red covers of The Economist magazine, because there are some doozies where they actually, I remember like the market crash after the 1987 Time magazine. Right after that, it was all red. The red after the,
Yep.
there's.
I'm just pointing out a quirk of the supposedly equal weight S&P fund or technology fund is that 5% of it is now SanDisk and Micron, and they don't rebalance for 2 more months. So keep an eye on that, right? That's all I'm saying.
Don't short new all-time highs, right?
Okay.
Like people have this mentality of like selling naked calls. Not that they sell naked calls, but like this, oh, how much higher can it go? Like if you actually believe that it can't go higher, then you just sell naked calls. Now, if you go to Chicago and you go talk to traders there and tell them tell them to tell you stories about times that they've sold naked calls, they will all tell you horror stories. Horror stories. So you don't sell naked calls. So because you don't sell naked calls, naked out of the money calls is what I'm talking about, by the way. Because you don't sell naked out of the money calls, because there's too much risk and it's not worth it and the probabilities are against you and all of those things, especially at new highs, then reverse engineer that from a mentality standpoint. If you shouldn't sell naked calls, right, in terms of execution, from a mindset standpoint, should we be thinking in that way where we're always trying to fade new highs? No, we should not, right?
Yeah, I'm with you. Someone in the chat's asking about what do you do if you're in, like, I mean, they're asking about Micron, but the same question really applies to silver or anything that's going parabolic. What do you do? It's a great question, and a lot of people here, Sean and Strazza, and JC, for that matter, would probably say, take some. If you can't sleep at night, take some risk off the table. Take some chips off the table. If you're up whatever 50% in Micron in what 2 months? I mean, damn, nice job. Take some chips off the table.
And you know what? And also on that Micron, zoom out and look at the size of that base, right? So if you made money in that trade, great. Go and study why that did what it did, so that next time you see that, you do the same thing, right? Because you're going to see that again. I'm telling you. That's why we do this. We're looking for big bases. You think I'm just quoting, Sir Mix-a-Lot, right? And talking about how big I like these bases and Kardashian bottoms. Like, yeah, funny, haha. But no. But seriously, that Micron is why we do this. So when we see that again, let's do the same thing and take advantage, right? Like there's a lesson here, whether you made money in it or not. And if you didn't make money, go look at that Micron base and don't miss it next time.
Micron all-time highs August of 2000. And then it failed there twice. It took a long time. It took we got back to that level almost 5 years ago. It took 5 years. Actually, it took 4 times. It took 4 times for it to actually break out. Anyway, congratulations if you're in Micron. I am not. It's been the best stock in the market. Let's talk crypto. We got Louis in the house.
Ludo.
It's Fridays, and Louis is actually in our time zone, which is very exciting. We saw Louis in Miami, and he gave a great presentation as always. So Louis, are you around? Are you here? He is. Yes, excellent. On we go.
Louis.
Hey guys, how's it going? It's
How's
fantastic
Miami,
joining you, and it's not 2 in the morning.
I know. It's great.
Miami looks good on you, Louis. I like it.
Thank you. I mean, it's a great city so far. I'm loving it. So gotta head down to Miami Beach today, see what the mood is in crypto. It's probably going to be quite somber because everything's breaking out here at all-time highs, emerging markets for goodness sake, and then here you got crypto failing to hold even just a little short 2-month high.
The original meme coin, gold, continues to rip, and none of those people there own it.
Louis, I would be very curious to see if there is any conversation, any mentions of gold at all. I'd be curious to hear about that. Any mentions of gold at the Bitcoin conference? Let us know.
I'll report back.
If there's any mention of gold, it's because it's the gold coin, right? Like on the blockchain chain that you could trade gold. That's the only mention of gold at all there. And maybe there's a silver one now.
maybe. I don't know. Louis is going to find out.
100%. Louis, confirm that for me, please. Take
I
a
will.
picture and send it in.
Yep, we'll do.
What stood out from Miami from the Portfolio Accelerator?
Um, I mean, for crypto specifically, I think it's the lack of interest. You know, people normally at these portfolio accelerator events, they're coming to me and they're saying, "Hey, Louis, what's the hottest crypto stock? What's the hottest shitcoin?" I didn't get any of that this time around. People just
Oh
weren't really
man, poor
interested.
Louis.
Yeah, I know, poor me, right? And so people weren't really too interested in crypto, and it's the first time that's really happened. And again, it just comes back to the fact that everything is working for the most part, except crypto.
And maybe this is sentiment too. Is Louis, you presented what, like 2/3 of the way through day one, and
Mhm.
that was the first mention of crypto. 2/3 of the way through day one. We
I
didn't even talk
remember
about
saying
it.
that, introducing him, and I'm like, how have we not talked about it once yet? This is
Didn't even come
crazy.
up. Didn't come up at all for the first 5 hours of the day, right?
Mhm. And then another thing that really caught my interest was this massive news that the New York Stock Exchanges announced the development of their tokenization platform. And I go around asking people, like, I mean, did you see the news? Did you see the headlines? And everyone was looking at me sideways, just really confused.
Have you asked anybody in like the Real Vision conference at all, or no? That same
No,
question.
I'll be going around and seeing what the mood is today. So I'll
Ask him
report
that
back.
question. Ask him that question because I'm curious to hear what the like the crypto bros feel about the TradFi sort of conversation, or whether they're focused on more decentralization. You know, because I
Well,
think
what I
that
can
if
tell
the
you
money's going
just
to flow, you're going to need the institutions. I hate to break it to you. Having Goldman Sachs at your back is not a bad thing. You're not against Goldman Sachs. Everyone's just trying to make money. So keep that in mind.
Well, let me tell you, I listened to a lot of podcasters and media and blogs, and let me tell you, I've got a few people that I know that have talked about it, and the unanimous sentiment is people are really pessimistic about it. They're saying that is there going to be much of a need for crypto anymore? We tried to revolutionize the financial system, but all that's happening is that the traditional status quo and the banks are just taking over again. This is the mood, and this is what people are saying about it. So they're generally quite pessimistic.
All right. Now I want to talk about the privacy, right? Because of all the charts that stood out, I was putting together kind of like a little bit of a list of, some of the charts that stood out most to me. Remember I talked about it on that second day. Here, I'll put it up on the deck. Here, throw up slide 2, and then we'll get to the lunacy, which is fantastic. It's a great word, lunacy. Throw it from 3. Lunacy comes from Luna, which is the moon, right? So
Hmm.
think about it when someone calls you a lunatic. There's a lot of history there. I'm getting really into the sacred geometry, man. It's far out, dude. So talk to me about you know, what's going on here so you can tell the folks. Is this to me of the charts of the entire 2 days, and as you can imagine, how many charts there were at the Portfolio Accelerator with all these technicians and stuff like that. There were fundamental people there too, but there was a lot of technicians. This one stood out to me, man. There isn't a single cryptocurrency out there that looks like this.
Yeah, look, so you really want to be paying attention to in crypto in just a few specific areas that are getting the interest. Most of these areas and themes you just want to ignore, but one of the areas that has got my interest is privacy. It's really taken off in a meaningful way last year. There's just been a demand for privacy because the problem with traditional blockchain networks like Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana is that they advertise all of your transactions and balances out to the world. People have kind of woken up to the fact that, hey, I don't actually really want that. And then institutions as well have also cottoned on to the fact that we can't have a situation where if people are using this technology, if this technology is going to be settling a lot of transactions in stocks and securities, we can't have all of these transactions and balances advertised out here. And so this has really got my attention. This is one of the leading privacy networks in the crypto space right now. It's Monero. This one is really quite a should I say quite a cyberpunk extreme version of that, where this is essentially the same thing as Bitcoin. So it's just a payments network. but it mandates and forces all of these transactions to be hidden and private. And so, you go on and you see, there's these just websites where people are selling sketchy stuff and they want to buy, they want to use it, they want to sell using Monero. Exchanges are delisting this coin left, right, and center because regulators don't like it that no transaction on this network can be traced down. And while those are all legitimate concerns, I find it really interesting that even though regulators hate it and this thing is being delisted from a lot of exchanges because it doesn't comply with MiCA rules, but yeah, it's trading at all-time highs and breaking out of this massive base. That interests me.
You've read a lot of white papers, and I try to tell people, like, when Louis talking, he's a technician and he understands the price behavior very well, as you have to be successful. But this comes from a place of a lot of information. This is very informed information. So when we're talking about Monero's been around for a long time. So has the white paper changed as the business pivoted? Has it always been like this? Because Monero's been around for a long time.
Hmm. It's really interesting that you asked that because there's basically two competitors in the privacy payment network space. You've got Monero and you've got Zcash. These are the blue chips of the privacy theme in crypto. And Zcash is a little bit more corporate. Unlike Monero, it doesn't force you to be private. It gives you the option to be private. So you can have your transactions advertised to the world, or you can have the choice to be private. And that network, because it's a little bit more corporate, it's undergoing a lot of these updates all of the time. Monero is almost a bit like Bitcoin. It hasn't really undergone a significant amount of updates over these last few years. And so the Monero 5 years ago is basically the same version of Monero now. And so it's really just, as I say, a bit more of a cyberpunk privacy solution in that sense.
Can you throw up slide 2 there, guys? One of the things that's gotten me thinking, things, market's always making me think, Louis. You can never a dull moment. I'm always thinking about things. And, the relationship here between Bitcoin and software has been strong for quite some time, to the point where it's like, hey, Bitcoin's not trading with tech. Bitcoin's trading with software, right? Like, that was kind of like the discrepancy I was making, because Bitcoin's certainly not trading like semiconductors, right? You look at the chart of Bitcoin, you look like semiconductors. Semiconductors are laughing at Bitcoin. But the software stocks have been struggling with Bitcoin, and you're seeing new lows in the software stocks. Everybody thinks they're going to zero. I like buying them down here. I guess we'll see what happens. But the lack of new lows in Bitcoin with the new lows in software, I find really interesting. That correlation there, that relation, the divergence recently in recent months there. What does that mean to you?
That's a fantastic chart because, as you point out, I
What we
mean,
do, little dog.
software.
That's what we do.
Because as you point out, software, well, crypto has been more historically correlated with software. And so people have been saying, hey, why is crypto trading like it is? Because all of these indexes are trading at all-time highs. But if you overlay software, then that relationship makes sense. And again, you can almost say this technology is primarily software more than anything. It's not really hardware. These are digital networks and ledgers, which I think it's closer to software more than anything. So it's a great chart.
So what do you think? Bitcoin starts making new lows here, confirming software. It's probably not very good there. Maybe Bitcoin showing some relative strength, suggesting maybe software is going to recover. There's a little overblown, maybe. How do you think about that?
I like this chart a lot. Like I said in my presentation at the event, a lot has changed since October the 10th. We've seen a whole bunch of market makers really take on a lot of losses on October the 10th, where we saw that massive crypto crash, and liquidity has really just come out of the crypto market. But I read a lot of research from Coinbase Institutional, and they put out these great charts of the market depth. And you can just see as liquidity has been drawn out, as there's not been as many buyers and sellers, as market depth has really cratered, that's really correlated with this recent decline in Bitcoin. But now you're starting to see that come back. You're starting to see some market makers come back. You're starting to see the market depth really beginning to increase. And so I think as that trend continues, as people start to step back in, I think Bitcoin can put in a little bit of a base here, and then this divergence is just like the nice little cherry on top.
You know, do you need to see Ethereum? Like, where on the altcoins, because Ethereum also not making new lows, right? Where on like the altcoin list are you like, you know, Solana not making new lows, but not looking as good as Ethereum? When you think about those, and even Binance, do you even include Binance in that same conversation, also making higher lows? Does that mean anything to you?
Yeah, I mean, you could just say it's just an example of market breadth, just turning a little bit more positive. Um, and so yeah, I would absolutely include that in the conversation there.
All right. Well, listen, go tell the folks over in Real Vision down in Miami Beach. Where is it? Do you know where do you finally know the hotel?
I'll put it on Google. It's somewhere where the sand is. That's all I know.
Dude, you are ridiculous. Let me see. I'll tell you right now. Let's see. They are at. Why don't they put the name of the hotel? Not a conference. It's a community gathering. I like that. That's very good. Very clever there, Raul Paul. Shout out Raul Paul. We got to get Raul here on the. Doesn't even say where it is. All right. Well,
I think it's
I know the ocean's
Oh no, it's
in
at the
that
Lowe's.
direction,
It's
so
at
I'm
the
just gonna
Lowe's.
go over there.
Yeah.
So you're right at the Lowe's.
Sounds good.
No, you're good. You're right on 17th Street there. It's all right. It's nice. You know, it's a little touristy there, but it's all good. It's a nice hotel, big hotel. Josh Brown loves that place. Loves the Lowe's.
Any recommendations before I leave Miami? Because it's Friday today, and I'm out of here Saturday night. What do I need to do?
You're staying in the Grove?
Still staying in the Grove, but I'm happy to go anywhere. You know, I think I need to go try some good Cuban food before I leave here.
Yeah, let's go to
Yeah, Louis. I was talking to. Sorry, JC.
No, go ahead.
What was your friend's name? The chef.
Daniel Boza.
Daniel, thank you. I was talking to Daniel. I asked him specifically, Louis, for the Cuban food because that's what I wanted, and he's a chef, so he would know. And I'll text you. We went to there were several of them, but we went to
Sergio's?
Yeah, we went to Sergio's. Yep.
Nice. So the guys that I played baseball with, the kids with the family that owns the twins, they were good athletes. Good guys too. You can go to Sergio's. You can, you know, they have a good, because it's traditional, you know, because it's Miami. So everyone's trying to do this fusion and get cute and like, you know, because there's this, you know, the best Cuban food is at the grandmother's house, right? Like anything else. So
that's what Strazza was saying. Strazza was like, we went out for like to like a steakhouse, and I was like, dude, I didn't come here for steak or sushi.
You got to go to an authentic Cuban place, and that I would argue definitely fits the bill. There's a few. You got to go to Little Havana. Go to Versailles in Little Havana, Versailles, and get a cafecito.
I have no idea even how to spell that.
Versailles.
It's like Versailles, but it's
Right.
pronounced the Spanish way.
Versailles. Yeah. That's where you want to go. Go. I mean, that might. You know, it's like it's so stupid. Like that is ground zero of like Cubans. Like when shit hits the fan in Cuba and there's, you know, Fidel dies, everything like that. That part of Miami explodes right in front of this, you know, little bakery, little restaurant. You know what I mean? So like, as cliche as it is to say, like Versailles is the spot, it is the spot. I mean, it's like the, you know, that's literally ground zero of, you know, that, you know, the whole, every day you'll go out there, you'll see 3-4 old Cuban men yelling at each other. And like, they're not fighting, they're friends. They're just having a normal conversation. This is just how they act. It seems like they're very angry and yelling at each other, but they're getting along just fine. They do this every day. How they're going to fix Cuba and all of these things. It's just, I mean, it's hilarious. And then across the street, down the block, you got the Domino Park, and you got all the guys playing dominoes, smoking cigars. So go on in there and give it a little watch. It's pretty hilarious. They're also yelling at each other, and they also seem very angry. But nope, they're all family. They love each other just fine. Don't worry.
I'm looking forward to it.
Oh, by the way, around the corner from the Lowe's, there's a bakery called Charlotte's Bakery on 15th and Washington. Go there. It's like a couple of blocks from the hotel, and you're gonna get the tequeños. So this isn't Cuban, actually. It's like Colombian, Argentinian, Venezuelan, which is fine. Because Miami's got those too, right? And they get the tequeños. Can you say that?
Tequeños.
Pequeños, slower. Pequeños, like really enunciate so they understand what the fuck you're talking about. Pequeños, you're gonna get those there, right? They're so good. And then
Sounds
whatever
good.
else looks good, get that too.
Just get everything. Just get everything while I go.
Get it all.
I mean, get the pequeños, and if anything else looks appetizing, which there probably will be, they got all kinds of shit in there.
Yeah,
Yeah, man.
sweet. Well, I'll report back. I'll
Go
let you know how I get on.
All right. Thanks,
All right,
Louis.
do it. All
Thanks,
right,
guys.
Louis Sykes
Yep.
in
In the house
Miami.
from Miami.
Go to our batters, get a chili dog.
Louis is in like the one place that's not getting snow this weekend, and then he's gonna dip out right before we do. So good on you, Louis.
All right, good job, Louis. Louis always
Oh
puts
yeah,
on-
I had my first cafecito down a few days ago. I didn't know what that was. I also learned you shouldn't have more than two, apparently,
Yeah.
but it was delicious. So
Gotta be
Cuban
careful with
espresso,
those, man.
nice
They're
job.
hard to explode.
Yeah, yeah. All right, we got Larry Thompson in the house, and Larry Thompson is going to do. I'm very curious to see his show later, because his episode this week on Thompson's 2 cents is why you should not invest in the stock market, and this conversation is near and dear to our hearts. So I'm bringing Larry out. What's up?
Larry the Legend.
Yo.
What's the deal?
How we doing?
You know, we're the only people that go to Miami and come back even whiter than when we got there. Dude, I got no sun.
Too many charts.
So many charts.
That's good.
So many charts.
Yeah, I'm jealous I couldn't make it this year, but
Next time.
Nashville.
In May.
Nashville should be one I should be able to make. So
Nice.
actually brought a chart. One of the trade ideas we put on last January was a gold miner, and I just looked and I was like, oh, I still own this, but good idea.
Go it up. Let's start there.
Wait, where are we? 24?
24. Yeah.
Dude,
or
silver.
mining.
Did silver hit 100? Oh,
Straight to charts. I love it. Yeah, this is one. Sam Gatlin and I were sitting right next to each other, and we popped this one up, and then literally bought the breakout. That was in January when we were in New York, and
I love this. So you forgot that you owned this. I love that.
Yeah, it was it was a longer term base, so I put in a longer term account with a trailing ATR stop, and you guys were talking about some of the trade ideas from Portfolio Accelerator. I was like, this is one Sam and I put on that day, and it's just chilling. Nice little triple.
That's great.
So yeah, it's so those are fun. Those are fun times. Like you said, good group of guys, and yeah, just tons of great ideas come out of those. So, but you mentioned, Spencer, the market not investing in the stock market. That kind of brings up slide 21. I think JC stole some of the thunder this morning when it comes to the equal weight technology, but I wanted to look at new highs minus new lows just in S&P 500, kind of reiterate this same point. But essentially, I just think people are getting caught up in the stock market versus the market of stocks, and just the market of stocks is more bullish than it's been in years. And so if you're only looking at the cap weighted index and you're listening to the local news, there's just a story that just doesn't match what's happening underneath the surface. And new highs minus new lows just shows that. Equal weight technology shows it. You look at this. I shared this probably 2 months ago, but I just said the breakout looks early. And if you look, right, so net new highs in just the S&P 500, right, made new highs yesterday. And you can see persistent absolute new highs and breakdowns really aren't occurring. So it's just, there's no reason to just be a passive investor just in average returns right now. There's plenty of opportunity outside of just those mega cap names. And I agree with JC. Like, I think new lows aren't expanding. So these software stocks are probably going to see some rotation here soon, as soon as everyone's now talking about it, right? Like now they're making, 2-year new lows on a relative basis. I just think you got to put in the work here. I think this is a market where people who are actually doing the work are being rewarded.
Yeah, there's no question. This is great with the S&P 500. Really well done here. Most in over a year. And when you look at the New York Stock Exchange, which for me is an even broader look. I
Oh,
mean,
for
you
sure.
know how I feel about the New York Stock Exchange. I like to get that international exposure. I like to get that additional cyclical exposure that you're not necessarily getting as much of in the S&P 500.
Yeah.
And you're seeing the same thing, right?
Yeah.
So this is a great example of, hey, do you look at it this way? Do you look at it that way? No, the answer is you look at them in all of those ways, right? And the fact that you're seeing the same thing in the S&P and you're seing the same thing in the New York Stock Exchange
And the
you're seeing
NASDAQ.
and the Russell 3000,
Yep.
right? Like, hello.
Yep. And my point here is that like it's true. S&P 500 is underperforming on a relative basis. But the nuance is the S&P 500 market of stocks are doing very, very well. So to me, it was like I'm putting in that caveat because like you don't even have to go any further than large cap stocks because I think large cap struggling. No, it's not. It's 10 stocks are struggling. It's Broadcom, it's Nvidia, it's Apple, it's Microsoft. There's like 10 stocks struggling, and people are letting that be a narrative that just isn't true. So that's what
it's fascinating that the NASDAQ 100 has not made a new all-time high or a new high of any kind since October, but the most new 52-week highs on the NASDAQ yesterday in well over a year. So you're seeing like the components doing well, and then the mega caps, the ones that they told you are the only ones going up. Remember how funny that was? They're the only ones not going up.
Yeah, exactly. And I think, right, that is, if you apply that nuance, that sure is somewhat bearish for a market cap weighted index, but don't let that be your problem. Like you're not here to invest in just a passive ETF, right? Like use this as information to be positioned correctly. So I also think it's funny, even if you just look at those 100 stocks, NASDAQ equal weight is treading water right here, right about to break out to new all-time highs. So even on an equal weight basis, only 100 stocks in the NASDAQ equal weight are about to break out. So I think it's just a conversation that for technicians, we're just loving this because the narrative isn't matching the underlying price action. And that's when there tends to be the biggest moves and biggest trades in the market.
That's why we do this.
Yeah,
why
exactly.
do we put in so much work? Why are we looking at all these charts, to see where, we're being told something, but that's not the case at all,
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. And then this is really fascinating as well. So as you're seeing the most amount of new highs on the NASDAQ in over a year, you're not seeing the NASDAQ 100 on a market cap weighted basis, but equally weighted. Same thing in the QQQJ, same exact thing too, right?
Yep, exactly. And so I think it's be aware. I said something to people yesterday. I was talking to somebody and I said, this is one of those times where you learn if you're actually good at this. Because if you're not making money right now, you're probably not good at this, that's okay. It's okay not to be good, but that's step one. Realize you're not good and change your process. Because if you're not making money right now, it's because you've probably been married to the averages, and the bull market of the S&P 500 market cap weight was probably doing the work for you. And if you're making money now, it's because you actually know how to do the work. So one, be aware of that because that's how you change, right? Alcohol Anonymous, right? Step one, I'm an alcoholic, right? Step one, I don't know stocks, or I don't know how to look at stocks. That's why you're here this morning. Step two, find the deviation between that narrative and what price action is telling you, and then you can see those trades kind of pop up.
So then here's the dilemma. Is it a situation, if you throw up slide, we were talking about it earlier, throw up slide 19. When you look at technology, market cap weighted, and you look at it by itself with a 14-day RSI, nice simple momentum.
Yeah.
If you're looking at a textbook, this is a bullish pattern, right? So I think about it both ways. What happens if a bullish pattern like this does not have a bullish resolution? Like that is a bearish signal, has been a million times over. We've seen it a million times. So I think about those implications. I think about how the market is doing just fine with tech going sideways. The market does just fine with tech going up. It's tech going down that becomes the problem. So that's number one. And then number two, all these other things are working. Small cap tech, equally weighted tech, equally weighted NASDAQ 100, NASDAQ next 100. All those things are making new highs. So is there a lot of evidence suggesting, by the way, mid cap tech also hitting all-time highs, right? So when you look at all of this, does the weight of the evidence suggest that this is going to break down? I mean, it could, but the higher probability is that it's going to go up. So think about how much fuel is left in this market. If the biggest players, the biggest participants, $20 trillion in the Mag 7, they're not even in this. They're not even at the party yet. They're not even at the party yet. This is the pregame where they're still playing the before the band shows up. You know what I'm saying? Like Larry likes that kind of music, right, Larry? That's what you do.
Yeah. I mean, you're nailing it. I think that's the piece where a lot of this stuff is just a distraction, because if you look at it from the side of overall trend is up, breadth is at its best levels in years, and so the weight of the evidence is suggesting that these stocks are going to not going to break down any more than they have, right? They look like crap, right? Microsoft's in a 15% drawdown, Apple's in a 15% drawdown, but this is where those failed breakdowns start to occur. This is where that new lows list starts to dwindle, and then you get those reversals, and we might see some reversals, right? And then small caps might come down a little bit. That ratio kind of realigns itself, but that's what you're saying. You have that next leg when the MVPs are on the bench, right? We're still leading in the game and the MVPs are sitting on the bench. They haven't subbed back in yet. So what happens when the MVPs sub back in, right? That's really, really it.
You know, it's when you put Braun on the bench for a few minutes to rest up for the fourth quarter, or you put, you know, whatever your stud closer in the fourth quarter, rest up for a couple of minutes, you know, so that you can go in there and close the game out, right, in the fourth quarter. And then during that time that your stud is on the bench, you know, they outscore the opponent 10-2. They go like on an 8-0 run without the stud. I mean, it's like, dude, right? Yeah. Like that's what's right. Isn't that what's happening?
Yeah, that's I think what is shaping up. So you might have a mean reversion here where you have a little bit where breadth comes in, people panic, but then these 8 to 10 stocks are like, okay, we'll carry the load for 10 to 12. And then what happens? People stay bearish. Why? Because then they say breadth is weak. And then we have another wall of worry to climb. And then it keeps going and keeps
going. By the
way,
I've seen this story before.
Yep.
Where you have a lot of the biggest components in the market not participating, but so many other stocks participating, and people complain. They're like, oh, the S&P is only up 2% this year. It's like, yeah, but look at all the other stocks, right? Like I've been in that scenario plenty of times over the years, and the opposite is also true. Yeah. It's like, oh, you know, nothing is working. It's like, well, but the S&P keeps making new highs. There's obviously things that are working, you know, and then, you know, I mean, the international outperformance that you're seeing again this year, the S&P 500, I think is like the third worst performing country in the world so far this year. Like something crazy like that.
Yeah.
You know, when you study every bull market ever, the United States is an underperformer in the majority of those, right? People forget. They're like, oh, the U.S. has to dominate because tech and all this stuff. No, actually, that was more of the outlier, what we saw over all that time where technology was so dominant and mega cap growth, and the United States had most of them, like pretty much all of them except what? Taiwan semi?
Yeah.
Right? That's it, pretty much.
Yeah, I think SAPs in Europe. I think there's like 3
Germany,
or 4.
ASML, like there's a few sprinkled around there, you know, but at the end of the day, you know, you're looking at American dominance there. So, but when you study all these bull markets in the past, the U.S. was not the leader in the majority of them, right? There's other countries and stuff like that, other types of stocks. And, you know, obviously you're seeing that with natural resources. Yeah. If energy is a leader, hypothetically, in that scenario, the S&P has 2% of its index is in energy, and the NASDAQ is 0. So how do you think energy as a leader going to do for those indexes? It's not going to move the needle.
Yeah, exactly. I 2 weeks ago, my Thompson 2 Cents Live was buy the bench warmers. And what I meant by that is in the United States, the bench warmers are basically international stocks, right? It's energy, it's healthcare, it's materials. And then you looked at those charts and they were bottoming and they were breaking up above their 200-day. And I mean, look at material stocks right now. Material stocks look great. Look at healthcare. Healthcare's kind of rebounded and looks great. Pharmaceuticals look great. And so I think I would even take that one step further and say, and this is me just being, you know, Mr. Patriot Hulk Hogan over here, is like, you don't even have to go international. You just have to go to the areas that are limited exposure in the United States, but you can still get exposure. You just can't buy the index and get exposure. But you can buy United States energy. You can buy United States materials. You can buy United States. The natural resource names aren't as good, but equal weight S&P 500 is doing just fine. Small caps, those are still U.S. stocks, right? So I think that's where, like I said, if you're not making money now, that's fine. I've been there before. 2018 was a year where a lot of the market broke down. That was the second year I really started getting into trading. And I was like, oh, I'm actually not good at this. And then, right, started picking up those books behind me, the CMT books. Was like, okay, now I got to learn. Now I'm prepared for these cycles.
You brought a VIX chart with you, Larry. Can you bring that up? Because the futures positioning, you're getting a lot of shorts in VIX from those asset managers. They can get more short, of course, but remember that these asset managers are the worst investors of all time. We know, we have the data, particularly from extremes. They make very poor choices at those extremes, and the asset managers are incredibly net short of the VIX. Now, they're not to the degree that they were a few years ago. They can get more short, right? And this could continue, but there's a storm of brewing out there somewhere. So I'm very curious on the VIX, because if these short sellers, asset managers are wrong, as they usually are, then you're going to get a VIX spike and they're going to get blown out. But they can add to their positions and continue to be wrong and get it wrong. So I'm thinking about, what an unwind looks like and when that happens. So how are you looking at the VIX? I'm not a VIX expert at all. So
yeah, I would say I don't look at positioning as much, but you bring up a fair point. I think, to be honest, I haven't thought through it that way as much. I tend to think of this as the move we had on, what was that, Wednesday? The move Wednesday in the market, or no, it's Tuesday. Sorry. The move Tuesday in the market. I think my question was I don't tend to just step in, hold my nose and buy. What I tend to do is the next day, when you have a down day in the VIX, right? Do we have a follow through reversion day? So I look for, if we have a big spike 2 days back to back in a row, do we have reversion from fear? And I think that's typically a pretty good buy signal. So that's what I'm highlighting here, is when we've had those big up days and then back-to-back down days, that's been a good reversion from fear signal, not necessarily to buy VIX, right? But to buy the market. And so we see this reversion from fear, and then we see large cap, mega cap, which VIX is denominated in mega cap terms. We see mega cap names starting to bottom. I think maybe it's, hey, these market cap weighted names might be responding here, which is why, right? You think about playing software, you think about playing semis, you think about playing those names. Yeah, this is interesting.
Yeah, so again, they can get more short. These are asset managers, so these are the worst investors in the world. And when they're, very extreme, you get some pretty serious unwinds. It can happen naturally. It doesn't have to be this shock to the market, but that's how the positioning is set up. So I'm really curious, how this unwinds. Again, they can get more short. They probably will. We'll see.
Yeah, that's a good point.
But storm of brewing. And then finally, you brought over a few charts, and some of the ones that stood out to me that you haven't mentioned is China.
Yeah.
So we'll leave it with China there today, and then we'll have market just opened up. But is this real? China outperforming last year, China outperforming the year before that in 2024. Only one of 3 countries that beat the United States, Argentina and Israel being the other 2. That was in 24. Last year, practically everything outperformed the United States. What do you think? China up for year 3? Why not?
Yeah, what I really like about that chart, one, I'm bullish China. I have positioning in China. I think it's an area of the market that is still building out this base, that K-Web chart, slide 33. And I think, if I think about, right, IWM isn't building a base, right? IWM is breaking out of its base. So using, partnering that with something that's breaking out, I look at something like K-Web, China ETF, and there's 2 things I do here. One is I use this to say, hey, what's working in China? So Alibaba, Baidu, those names are crushing it. The other thing here is just understand the characteristic of price action. And so you have the opening AVWAP and then the all-time high AVWAP. it served as resistance. Then last year, right, we broke out, and then now it's turning into support. So here is where I'm starting to add to positioning, realizing this is a long-term play. But overall, I just think China is a place to be. I don't hear about it as much in the news. I think the move on Venezuela is kind of a, hey, this is where we're going to play, China. You keep doing what you're doing, but keep it down over there with Taiwan semis. And you've seen semiconductors continue to rip. And so I think China's just one of these places where maybe it's just going to get a little back, sit in the sideline, sit in the back of the media, and then it just continues to work higher. Not that I'm a valuations guy, but you look at valuation and positioning in China, and people still aren't believers yet. So I think it's a good time to get involved.
Man, I mean, I think about it from a leadership standpoint. You got all of that massive breadth, that massive breadth thrust and momentum thrust in China at the end of 2024. And at the end, what was that? At the end of September of 2024, I believe.
Yeah, September, October.
Momentum and breadth thrust, like a zillion of them. Like any way you measure it, that shit was crazy. Outperformed that year, outperformed last year. I mean, it was early strength. And you saw early strength in Israel too.
Yep.
Like those two areas stand out to me, because Argentina was strong that year, but Argentina is a whole other story, right?
Yeah.
So it's a little more complicated over there. But in terms of like a keep it simple, Israel and China, early leaders in this international rotation. And
sure.
I think that's indicative of future leadership. I mean, right?
Yeah. And worst case, you have really well-defined risk reward here, and it gives you positioning outside of maybe current leadership from an absolute perspective that you're seeing. We're already buying breakouts that are working. Okay, what are some bottoming patterns that haven't had this, crazy move to the upside and have a lot of upside? I think a lot of that's China.
What about the rest of Southeast Asia? Vietnam.
I don't look at them as much, to be honest. The market's just a little bit smaller. And honestly, I get a lot of my work from Rick, right?
Dude,
Rick.
We talked about so many Japanese banks. I mean, there's a lot on the pink sheets, so if you're an options trader, it's not very helpful. But if you're trading common stock, don't be shy of looking at some of these pink sheet names. I mean, they're in the pink sheets, but these are huge companies.
Just be mindful of the volume. There's not always a ton of liquidity.
Like Tencent is a humongous company, and it trades on the pink sheets.
Yeah. I would also just say, like, there's so many, like KBE is making all-time highs, KRE's right at new highs. It's also like, I don't think you have to go there to make money. You get a little more juice, but I don't think you have to go there, right? Whereas, like, I think you had to go to LATAM to some degree if you wanted certain natural resources, or you have to buy commodities to get commodity exposure. I don't know if I have to go to Japanese to get banks that are doing really, really well, because I think banks as a whole are doing pretty well.
Yeah, for real.
All right. Larry's going live today at 5 o'clock, as he does every Friday for Thompson's 2 cents, talking about why you should not be buying the stock market, but you should maybe think about buying the market of stocks. So looking forward to that. Larry, great job as always. We're going to hop out of here. Markets are open. Everyone go do your thing. We'll be back full crew on Monday morning. We'll be joined by the lovely Anne-Marie Band on Monday.
Oh, nice. Anne-Marie coming through.
Very much looking forward to that. So
very cool.
That's a wrap for us. Oh, Gold Rush is going live today at 12:15 as well. The guys missed yesterday. They'll be back today at 12:15. Jason and Sam talking about gold, silver.
Speaking of OGs, Anne-Marie OG. Anne-Marie OG.
Anne-Marie is someone that I kind of keep in the back of my mind for whenever there's like real, genuine panic out there. I always like hit her up, like, "Yo, Anne-Marie, let's talk." Cause she's
that's how you.
Yeah, because she's
calm
like
everybody down, Anne-Marie.
Yeah, she calms everyone down. I think I spoke to her and like I don't know, it was during the throes of COVID. She was like, "Calm down, it's gonna be okay."
Dude, her son plays like professional basketball, like
in
Europe.
Yeah, in Europe, he's balling out.
All right, we'll be back on Monday. Larry's live at 5. We'll see you there. Thanks for watching. Go make some money. Adios.
Cheers, fellas.
I can't take no loss. I don't even know what it costs.